I was followed home from Walmart last night. I live in South GA, so things over here can be really shady. I go to this Walmart all the time and I've never had problems with it whatsoever. I'm a 21-year-old male, so it's kind of weird that I was followed anyways, but here we go. I went shopping for groceries, doing my usual thing. It was around 8:30 p.m. by the time I got done checking out. As I was walking out of the store, I noticed this older gentleman staring at me all creepy like. I just brushed it off until I noticed he was out in the parking lot staring as I was putting my groceries in the car. I decided to kinda hurry up the pace. I can defend myself. I'm a pretty muscular guy, but I don't like violence that much. I got in my car, started to drive away, and I thought that was that. I get about a mile down the road when this black pickup starting riding my bumper. I slowed down and went off the road a little to let him pass, and he didn't. He kept pace. I finally brake checked him and he passed, but as he was doing that I noticed it was the same old man. When he passed me, he brake checked me and tried to make me stop my car. This went on for 10 minutes until I got very aggravated and passed him and sped off. I finally get home, go inside and start to chill out when my Ring camera went off. I looked at the video from my phone and this dude was on my porch. I called the cops, they came but he was gone, so there wasn't nothing they could do. This happened last night. I'm kinda creeped out about that experience, so I thought I'd share. Walmart is always crazy. When I was in college, sophomore year, so probably 2013, I was grocery shopping at the local Walmart. It's a pretty small town in the Midwest, the type of town that's kept afloat by the college. When I got to the checkout area, I noticed this toddler walking around. Self-checkout was new and I was stoked to be using it. I'm awkward and weird in general, so self-checkout is amazing for me. I dismissed the kid and went about my business. On my way out, said toddler followed me out the door. I stopped and looked around for their parents. No one was nearby. I decided to wait with the kid without touching them. Ick this kid and don't want anyone to think I'm taking them. So I just watched them. They take off full run into the parking lot. I have a basket full of groceries and don't want to just leave it, so I have a moment of panic. In my indecision, I follow the kid and kind of corral them with my cart to my car, and park my buggy resting against my car so it doesn't roll away. If it's not already obvious, I'm not good with kids I don't know at least. I raised my nieces. I'm just not sure how to proceed at this point, so I grab the kid's hand and walk back to the store. As I get to the door, a woman comes out and grabs the kid. I inform her of their adventures and try to relate by taking about my niece's lack of stranger danger. The woman looks at me like I'm fucking nuts and takes off inside. I stand there for a moment and then go unload my bags and put away my cart. On this day, I was accidentally the creepy encounter for that woman. If you see this, I'm so sorry. Walmart creep. I work as an optician inside of a Walmart. Great because I get to people watch. Not great because people get to watch me. There's an old man that I had helped once because his glasses were broken and I found a frame to fit his lenses. No big deal, I do this every day. After this, he would occasionally walk by and wave and tell me his glasses were holding up great. Perfect, I'm glad. One day I was with my husband and I saw him at Rural King and he did the old, "Shouldn't you be at the Vision Center instead of here?" LOL, so funny. It soon turned into him being at Walmart almost every day I worked and not only waving at me but stopping in to talk to me. I am friendly at my job because that's my job. Customer service. Friendliness is not equivalent to flirting. I'm actually quite introverted, so my customer service persona is a facade to get me through my days. He stopped in one day when my coworker and I were just chatting and exchanged pleasantries, even though I was already sick of seeing him at this point. His talking turned into asking me what my married name is, what my maiden name is, what my husband's name is, how old I am, and how I like married life. Mind you, I couldn't hide my full name because my optician license is prominently displayed on the wall of my workplace as is required by state law. I felt so naive to be in this position. My coworker, of course, thought this was very strange. He also once stopped and told me to wake up because I was zoned out, and he said he could write a poem about that pretty girl staring into space. Weeks later, after seeing him sometimes twice in a day, I started to get very annoyed and would be short with him when he would come in to talk to me. He actually came back one day and said, "Are you mad at me, kiddo?" I replied that I was at work and busy, and he left. None of these conversations have ever been about glasses anymore since the first encounter. Completely irrelevant to me helping him with glasses or anything to do with my job. Yesterday is what really got to me. He came in to talk, of course, and I was being short with him as I am not the kind of person who can just tell him to get lost, so being relatively unfriendly has been my go-to in hopes that he will just stop trying to talk to me. He actually asked if I drive the color car with the sticker on it because he saw me walking to it one night. How is this his business, and why would you ever ask someone you don't know, especially a 63-year-old man asking a 32-year-old young woman a question like that? Bold. I can't avoid him because Walmart is the place the creeps come to, and it's not like I can just leave when he comes in because he always sees when I'm not busy and will take advantage of those times before I even realize he's there. Sometimes even when I'm with a patient, he waits for me to finish just to talk. My manager said a few days ago when I was off, he walked by with his wife and said, "Is she here?" It's okay, my wife knows I'm a flirt. Disgusting. I'm just wondering if this seems odd to anyone else or if I'm just being paranoid. He really creeps me out, and I've been debating whether or not to go to our security associates and talk with them about how I can stay safe. I don't always have a coworker with me, and I often close and walk to my car by myself. I've seen a lot of true crime shows and he gives me the Wiggins. 2 men following me throughout Walmart. So this happened to me, F17, a couple months ago. I was grocery shopping with my mom at Walmart. We walked in together and I stayed with her past a couple aisles, then we split up as I wanted to get some things for myself. I told her I would call and find her once I got the things I needed. I'm not sure when they had started following me, but as I was moving throughout the store, I literally walked throughout almost the entire store to see if they would follow me. They kept appearing in the aisles I was walking to, or walking past the aisles I was in, and I started to think they might be following me, and I started to get a little freaked out. So I decided to walk towards the garden center and see if they would follow me there. And of course, they did. I might have been feeling paranoid, but it looked like they kept looking at me and talking to one another, so I started to freak out even more and went up to one of the garden center employees to ask them some stupid question like, "Where do you keep the big garden pots?" to try to make it seem like I might be telling the employee that those 2 men had been following me, hoping it might scare them from actually doing anything. I didn't actually want to say anything because I hate making scenes, especially if I wasn't 100% sure. The employee showed me towards the pot section and I stayed there for a couple minutes pretending to look at them. The 2 men remained in the garden center, walking past the aisle I was in or walking past the exit/entrance. Another thing that worried me was that they weren't carrying any items with them or a shopping cart or anything, even though they had been walking around the entire store looking, or at least pretending to look at items. So I just thought fuck it and decided to walk towards the self-checkout. On my way to the checkout, I texted my mom that I thought I was being followed and told her I was going to the checkout. This is the part that creeps me out the most. As I started checking out, I looked up and saw one of the guys in the clothes section staring right at me. He wasn't even trying to hide it at this point. The clothes section is right beside the self-checkout, and he was resting his arms on the clothing racks, and I could see he was also looking at his phone. It literally looked like he was pointing his phone towards me like he was taking a picture. I feel like he might have been texting the other that I was leaving, and maybe he might have been waiting in the parking lot for me, because the other guy was nowhere near us now. As I'm checking my items out, my mom calls and I tell her what's going on and where I am. And she told me she was on her way to the checkout. As I'm on the phone, the guy is still staring at me. So I wait at the till for my mom, keeping a couple items to the side to make it look like I'm still checking out, and as soon as she arrives and stands beside me and starts to talk to me, the guy leaves and I didn't see them again. I didn't see them as we were leaving the store or in the parking lot. I kept looking all around us, side to side and behind us on our way to the car, scared they might show up. But they didn't, and we quickly left. Even though nothing happened, I couldn't shake the odd feeling that something might have happened if my mom wasn't there and I was alone. Am I overreacting? 6 a.m. Walmart creep. I woke up pretty early this morning, so I decided to get a leg up on the day. I quickly washed up and headed to Walmart. I had got there 10 minutes before they opened, so I spent a few minutes driving circles around the parking lot, debating which side I wanted to park on. I parked in the center of both entrances. Walking around Walmart, I heard a wolf whistle when I was in the hair section. I looked around but only saw workers stocking the shelves. They were in their conversation, so I know it wasn't them. I carried on. This is a supercenter Walmart, it's pretty big. The hair section is on the opposite side of the food section. So I crossed through a bunch of miscellaneous aisles, grabbing a few different things along the way. When I arrived to the dairy section, I heard the whistle again. This time I ignored it. Again, they whistled. I went to another aisle and I heard the whistle once I was about to move on to the next. The store wasn't completely empty, but I just could not see who was doing it. I last heard the whistle when I was in the last aisle of the food section. I didn't bother to look. I checked out, and before leaving I grabbed my knife and had my keys in my hand, along with my pepper spray and these pointy knuckle rings locked in my fingers. I threw my shit in my car, and on my way to the driver's door, I heard the whistle and saw car lights turn on me. I continued into my car and I was about to take my mask and beanie off, but figured it'd be smarter to keep it on. He drove slow by me, peering into my car, trying to get a look at my face. This dude was a psycho because I walked around Walmart in my beanie and mask on. I had a hoodie on as well. This dude literally saw nothing of me and was following me around Walmart whistling.